Right. So in today's session, we are going to discuss about building an FTP, test plans, etc. Right. So when you want to build an FTP test plan, so building an FTP test plan, especially when we are using JMeter, because JMeter is something which normally we use in Guidewire testing, exclusively used for performance testing, as you know already. So when we are implementing performance testing, it's always important for us to know about the creation of a basic test plan to test any kind of FTP site, wherein whatever the users as well as the kind of request that we are sending for different files on FTP sites, wherein you want to construct any kind of elements and all everything. This is something essentially required. You must be knowing about the thread group. You must be knowing about FTP request. At the same time, we must be knowing about FTP request defaults or view results in table, all that. In the process of learning about FTP test plan, it's important for us to add different users. This is what something the screen over here you can see. This is what generally we call it as a thread group. So when we want to add any kind of test plans as well as adding some elements to the existing one. Generally in JMeter test plan, if you want to add any kind of thread group elements here, because the thread groups are majorly tells you about what are the JMeter number of users we wants to simulate, and how often the users should send the request and how many requests they should send. Everything generally comes under the thread group. In process of understanding the thread group elements and all, wherein by selecting the test plans, at the same time the kind of thread group, the elements that we are creating to create any kind of thread group or thread plans, everything are being involved in it. In the process of learning this, it's important for us to know about different default FTP request properties we need to add. So either it can be FTP request properties, or it can be adding some configuration elements, or it can be FTP request defaults, or it can be something relating to the FTP servers or server names, or if you want to add any kind of FTP request by adding some simple as well as FTP request over here. So everything can be done under this building the test plans and all. So in regard to that, the first one about the adding users. This is the first thing which normally we need to add. So we need to add the users and all. That is the one thing which we need to do. Next, we need to add adding the default FTP request properties. This is also important. Yeah, so adding default FTP request properties is important here. Next, the third one, adding FTP requests. This is the third one wherein we need to know. Next, we need to add adding a listener to view the test results. Right, so to review the test results and all, so wherein we need to add. So these are the four different elements that we need to be updated when we are going to create any kind of building a FTP test plan is something like. So in regard to that, when we are going to add any users and all, we need to create the thread groups over here, wherein we need to provide the thread group name. Followed by this, we must be mentioning about some that comment, something like the kind of actions that are to be taken, or if you want to stop the thread, or if you want to stop the test, or what are the number of threads and users do we have, etc. So this part we are going to discuss in the next session.